iconic service leaders, and my dearest learners. Welcome to yet another very powerful training program. Let me start this course with a statement written by an American aerospace engineer. He beautifully wrote, he says, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. His name was Edward Murphy, and today, popularly, this is called the Murphy's Law. Isn't it so true? It happens a lot in the service industry as well. No matter how prepared you are to deliver your very best experience to customers, but sometimes we may have challenges. The customer may have issues. Inaccessibility could be one challenge. Delay in commitment could be another challenge. Many other reasons. And then in that situation, the customer has a complaint for a service not received as expected. Now, in order to rise and shine in business as great leaders, you and I need to therefore master the art of handling complaints. Welcome to Complaint Handling Mastery. This program will give you 4 simple yet powerful steps to handle complaints at ease. Now, before I get you in this program, let me give you some global statistics. You see, 96% of unhappy customers don't complain. However, 91% of those will simply leave and never come back. This brings us to realizing a very important fact that handling customer complaint is the utmost important key to rising and shining in business. And this program will get you there. Before I teach you those 4 simple steps on how one can handle complaint effectively, let's look at a lovely quote by one of the most amazing leaders, the founder of Microsoft, Mr. Bill Gates. Mr. Bill Gates says, your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning. Now, understand, when a customer is complaining, how do we take it? Do we take it as a negative feedback? Do we really feel bad about it? My God, why did he complain? Or do we consider this as a constructive feedback and we look at it as an opportunity to see our flaws, challenges, weaknesses, so that we can convert those weaknesses into strong strengths and eventually improve our performance and delight our customers? You know what? The right answer is we must take it as a constructive feedback, an opportunity to do something better than before in order to raise our service standards. And therefore, this workshop will give us 4 simple ways on how you could master complaint handling. Let me share the experience of one of the most trusted automobile brands in our country called Maruti Suzuki Limited. Now, Maruti is a leader in passenger vehicles in our country. And this is a real life incident that happened. So this guy sends his vehicle for car servicing, and the servicing was done. The car was delivered at his doorstep. In the evening, he wants to look at the vehicle. He wants to go out for a drive. And guess what he realized? He realized that the servicing was not done as per his expectation. The car was dirty inside. The number plate was not fixed properly, and the cabin had a loose wire. So the bulb was hanging somewhere. This man was very upset. He quickly picked up the phone and he dialed the service advisor's number. The service advisor, on the other hand, he picked up the phone and he said, yes, sir. Okay. I see. Let me have a look at that, sir. Sure. Okay. I'll fix up everything for you, sir. Just give me 3 hours. I understand, sir. Okay. Sure, sir. My apologies. I'll get it done, sir. He gives a patient hearing, a very effective listening, and guess what he does? He himself, with a service advisor, technician, and his service manager, 4 of them get to his doorstep within 45 minutes, fix up everything that needed to be fixed up, clean the car nicely, and offer a bouquet of flowers and thank them for the complaint that he had and apologize for the challenges that he suffered. My dear friend, that was a time this man was so happy. He said, wow, I think the car was looked after so well. I'm feeling so happy that people who walked into our place, they really did whatever was missing brilliantly. Now, in the whole cycle, how did it all begin? This all began when a phone call was made by the customer to the service advisor. And what the service advisor did brilliantly was he had all his ears for the customer. My dear friends, the first step to handling customer complaint is called listen with interest. Please make sure you have yourself completely immersed into the customer's challenges. Listen very carefully. Don't ask a lot of questions. Listen first. Listen, because you're going to really understand to resolve. If you don't understand what needs to be resolved, you will not be able to resolve that effectively. So remember, the first step towards handling customers complaint is listening with interest. Now, Let's look at the second situation. One of the very popular brand in online streaming is called Netflix. Now, do you know what happened in 2011 when Netflix was looking to transition from DVD delivery to streamline service? It had a few missteps along the way. They accidentally charged the customers wrongly in the transaction, and when it came to everyone's notice, customers were really very upset. Do you know what happened? The very next moment, the CEO of Netflix issued a public apology for the same, apologizing for the challenges that the customer faced. And my dear friend, the money was refunded and they looked after the customers really well. The point is, when the customer is complaining, after we have heard him well, the very next step that you and I need to focus on is apologize. Apologize not because it was you who did not do anything wrong. Apologize because of the inconvenience that he had to go through because of lack of service standards from our end. It could be anyone's challenge, but you have to apologize. Okay, I have to apologize if there's something wrong on my company's behalf. Now, therefore, the second step after you listen is apologize. Let's look at the third important step, which is an important key in handling overall complaints. Now, my dear friends, I'm going to talk about this bank. Now, this bank had a credit card issue to the customer. And you know what? Credit card fraud is a common phenomenon these days, and it happens quite a lot. So the customer unfortunately had a fraud on his credit card. His money was swiped and he had made no transaction. So this guy, Adam, makes a phone call to the bank informing about multiple charges made overseas. Turns out that his card number was stolen and somebody used it wrongly. Now, the support team who was speaking to the customer immediately said, "Don't worry, sir, we will reverse the charges right away." She apologized to Adam and assured that this will never happen again. But you know what? She didn't stop there. When Adam said he would be in another city the next evening, she immediately understood that, okay, you're going to be traveling there. What she did was she asked if somehow the company can deliver the card to his hotel before 10:30 a.m. so that before he leaves the hotel in the morning, he has a new card issued. And guess what? They tried their very best, and a new credit card was issued the very next day in his hotel room in that new city. Wasn't it a delightful experience, right? Not only that, she also sent a handwritten apology to the customer. My dear friends, that is great customer service. Now, the third very important step that this story brings out for you and for me is solve the issue completely and go little extra, do the little extra mile so that the customer feels really amazed. So my dear friends, here's the third very important key that we learned together. Let's revise all the three that we have learned so far before we get to the fourth one. The first we talked about was listening with interest. The second very important step in handling customer complaints is apologize for the inconvenience that he has suffered. And the third very important step is solve the issue, and while solving, do something more than what he possibly expects. Now, would you be willing to learn the fourth important step? All right, let's bring it on. The fourth important step comes up with another experience. Now, you and I, we understand that Airtel is one of the leading mobile operators in our country. And how many of you have had challenges, right? When you have challenges with this mobile company, could be a network issue, could be call dropping, could be issues regarding bill payment, whatever it is. You know, you speak to somebody on the phone, and right after your conversation is over, and they have solved your query, you get a message. You get a message on your mobile phone. Please rate the service from 1 to 5 and tell us if the issue was solved completely. What they're doing is they're taking a feedback from you. They're trying to understand that, are you happy? If you're not happy, they would like to go next step and try and make a phone call to you to further delight you. Isn't it such a wonderful step there? You know what? This is the fourth important step. It is called thank the customer for the complaint, solve the complaint, and then take feedback. Okay. Now let's revise all the four steps that we have learned together. First is listen with interest. All right. Listen with complete interest. Get yourself immersed into the customer, whatever he's saying. Second, apologize for the inconvenience. Third, solve the problem and do something extra when you're solving the problem. And the fourth very important point is please thank the customer for the complaint and take the feedback and check if all his issues are solved completely. Now, we call them LAST, the last steps, the last acronym of handling customer complaints. Once again, listen with interest, apologize for inconvenience, solve the problem, thank the customer, and take feedback. My dear friends, I am sure you're going to do all that it takes to follow these 4 steps, and you will delight every single customer in times to come. Now, I'm going to share with you an experience, an example with you. Now, I read about this experience some time back, and this is a wonderful, wonderful example on how people and champions go the extra mile in delighting their customers when there is a customer complaint. I'm going to talk about one of the most popular hotel chains in the world called the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. Now, Ritz-Carlton is one of the most luxurious hotel chains in the entire world, and they have maintained their reputation over the period of time for delighting their customers and doing something more than what a customer can ever imagine. This case I'm going to share with you is a special case. Now, one of the guests in Bali was a boy with severe food allergies. Okay, so the family traveled to Bali to have a wonderful vacation, and amongst the family there was this young boy. Now, his family had taken great care to bring specialized food, milk, and other things so that he could have the right food and should not have allergy challenges when he's living in this hotel in Bali. So they carried a lot of food. Now, when they reached the hotel, they gave the food to the hotel so that it can be kept in the refrigerator. Now, after a while, it was time for them to have their meals. And when it was served, they realized the food had gone stale. It wasn't in edible condition. They were very upset. Now, they called the manager and said, you know what? The food that we brought is no longer in condition to eat. What do we do? And he cannot have anything other than the food that we brought with us. The manager immediately tried to do whatever best he could to find food locally in Bali, those allergy-free food, but somehow he couldn't get any of that. Anyways, it was time for dinner, and the family was a little upset. But finally, when they got to the dinner table in the evening to have their food, guess what happened? They were extremely surprised to see that all the food that they had got with them was right there. And it was not the what that they had carried, it was a fresh version of the food that they had carried with themselves. They were extremely happy to see how come. How is it possible to get the same food and that to the fresh food on the table in Bali? It is next to impossible. So they called the manager to ask him, hey, how could you do this? This is absolutely unbelievable. How could you get this fresh food? It's not available. And you know what he did? The manager said, sir, immediately after you complained, I sent my people out in Bali to see if they have your food available. It wasn't available. Then I immediately spoke to my mother-in-law who lives in Singapore, and I requested her to go to that very store from where you had purchased that food which got stale, and I requested her to carry every single thing to us immediately. You know what she did, sir? She took the flight, she traveled all the way to Bali just to bring the food of your choice. And here it is, sir. I hope you would enjoy it. My dear friends, it was such an amazing experience for the family. They never expected a hotel to do this much for delighting their customers, and they did that. This is a great example on how complaint can be handled effectively and overdoing much more than what a customer can ever expect. My dear friends, if Ritz-Carlton can do it, you can do it. We can do it. Let's do it. Let's revise those 4 steps one more time. The first is called listen with interest, apologize, solve the problem, thank the customer, and take feedback. I know you had a great time learning as much as I had a great time sharing these 4 amazing steps with you. Friends, if you're loving this program, we would love to know how you're finding it. If you attend a webinar like this, we would love to see you sharing your experience with us. We are eager to hear from you. Okay, tell us how you're living this learning by simply writing to us with a photograph or share a short video which can go up to 30 seconds in a formal attire, and send that video at gurukul.hdfcbank@gmail.com, and we will feature the best entries on our world. I look forward to your insights on how you're living this learning on that email. Send it across to us and tell me how you find this training program. My dear friends, if you like this workshop and you would like to connect with me for any questions that you may have, or you might want to seek an advice, you're more than welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn. The best way to connect with me is find me on LinkedIn and type Ashish Singh Star Consulting. Enter. You'll find me right there. Be a part of my LinkedIn family. Ask a question and I'll be very happy to answer that for you. Friends, it has always been a pleasure to share meaningful insights so that you can have a wonderful, happy, successful life ahead. I want to thank you once again for joining this training program. May you achieve massive success in every sphere of your life, and do let me know how best we can help you. Look forward to listening to you look forward to hearing your comments and seeing your comments on linkedin.com. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful time ahead. God bless you all. Namaskar.